Hello and welcome into this week's edition of the Rookie Stripes podcast here on Racing News Now. I'm Garth. That's Tyler. What's going on?
Everything's bigger in Texas, including Chase Elliott's fan base.
Including Chase Elliott's fan base and the Xfinity finishes.
This is true. Although I am very impressed with Chase Elliott, and I'm happy to see him do something again.
Who has a gun to your head right now?
No, but for real though, the Allan Kulwicki thing that he did after he won was pretty cool. The Polish victory lap, I like that in the Hooters car. There's like a whole bunch of coincidence numbers behind that are like kind of creepy. But
well, yeah, that was the first time Hooters has won since Allan Kulwicki.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure I saw that. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Wow, that's wild.
It was like 92, sometime in 92 with Allan Kulwicki. It was like Pocono or something.
You've been on Chase Elliott's car for like the last 4 or 5 years too?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know it's the first time he's won with Hooters.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a good track record for the Hooters car.
They were out of the sport for a while before they came back with him. And when they were in it last, I don't remember them being with anybody good. I think they were with Brett Bodine for a little bit. And then I don't remember who they were with before that. But yeah, I don't think it was anybody good between Kulwicki and Elliott.
Interesting. I had no idea it had been that long since a Hooters car won. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I mean, I guess it makes sense because it had to be at least 10 or 15 years that they weren't on a car before they came back with Chase. So, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. The only things I know about Hooters are the memes about the girls and the NASCAR paint schemes. That's it.
And the jokes that everybody goes for the wings.
That's the memes.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, good to see Chase back though. Very aggressive in this race. I don't know that I've seen him be that aggressive maybe ever. Well,
definitely not since he broke his leg.
I don't know that I've seen him that aggressive in the Cup Series.
Okay, that's fair.
Now, granted, he dumped Ty Dillon for a win at Mosport in the trucks. So,
dude, I would dump Ty Dillon for a win if I had to.
Dude, Mosport had the wildest finishes. I mean, you had that one where
was that the Canadian one?
Yeah, Chase dumped Ty in the last corner to win. Then you had the race where Nemechek pinned Custer on the wall all the way down the front stretch. You had the one where Cindric wrecked Kaz Gralla in the keyhole on the last lap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was so many crazy finishes at Mosport, and the fact that they're not back there yet, and they haven't been there since COVID, is wild to me.
No, we should take the Cup Series to Mosport.
We should. That would be really cool.
Or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where they're going to go in Canada instead of Montreal.
Almost be really disappointing.
Would it?
Is Mosport like even anywhere near a big city?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Do we need a NASCAR and F1 doubleheader like 2 weeks after the 8500 in Montreal?
It is in Orono, Ontario, which is, it's just outside of Toronto.
Oh, okay. That's, it's not bad.
No. I mean, it's, let's see, how far is it to Toronto from there? Oh, that's fine. It's about an hour from downtown Toronto.
It's not bad.
No.
Montreal would be insane. Can you imagine NASCAR's going through the Wall of Champions there?
Is it bad that I don't even know what that is?
It's like, that chicane at the end of the lap in Montreal where there's that wall off to the right that like somebody crashes into it almost every week.
No.
Every year. Okay.
I'm not super familiar with. I don't even know if I watched that race in F1 last year.
That's like my favorite race of the year usually.
By that point in the season, I'm so burnt out on F1 because Max has won everything. I just don't have the desire to keep watching.
But it's only like round 7.
Is it?
Yeah, usually.
No, wait, hold on. That's further in than that.
It is this year.
They've done 5 races already this year, and it's still 5 races out, so it's like round 10. That's far enough in when Max has won basically every race. It's the week after Monaco.
Yeah, it's round 9. It used to be 7, but then they started adding more races at the beginning of the season.
Oh, it is round 9. Okay, so I looked at the past races, and that was including preseason testing at Sakir.
Oh.
So there's 5 in the past races, and then it's the 5th on the upcoming. So that's where I was getting 10. I didn't notice Sakir was in there.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, still. I mean, by the time Monaco rolls around, like, I have very little desire to keep watching F1 at that point, because by that point, Max has basically already won the championship.
Pretty much how it's going to be this year, too.
Exactly. So, it's not fun to watch anymore at that point. Hell, it's not fun to watch after like 3 races, but
no,
unless
they need to make the cars smaller and all that good stuff. Literally, smaller cars would solve almost every problem that they have right now.
And somehow make Red Bull slower.
Well, that'd be cool.
Make Red Bull slower, Alpine faster. Just give them. I don't know if I want to say this or not, because I feel like I'm going to get hate for this.
Put Max in the Alpine.
No, I was going to say give them spec cars, but I feel like I'm going to get hate for that.
No, like it's almost like we have another series in the world that's that and produces good racing every week. Well, every week that they actually race.
Oh, you're talking about IndyCar.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about NASCAR. NASCAR is basically spec at this point.
It basically is. But it's the same kind of idea, though. Like, IndyCar is a spec series. Racing is fantastic, but oh no, we're not technologically advancing and reinventing the wheel every week. Oh no.
Right,
Same thing with NASCAR.
I don't understand that argument, because all these NASCAR fans that are just like, oh, they need to go back to just letting them build whatever cars they want to build, and just, it doesn't matter if there's only 2 cars on the lead lap at the end of every race. That's racing. Is it, though?
I mean, that's a good way to lose literally the entire fan base right now.
Right. Like, I like old NASCAR as much as the next guy, but there is no denying that current NASCAR is more exciting than NASCAR of the 70s.
I like the IMSA GT and GTE rules where you develop your own engine, and then at the end of the day they all make the same horsepower and cars are the same, they are as fast as every other car in that category anyway.
That's basically how NASCAR is at this point. I mean, the cars are essentially exactly the same now, other than different manufacturer noses. But basically, each manufacturer has its own engines. I think Chevy is the only one that has more than one, because they've got Hendrick and ECR engines. Mm-hmm. But Toyota supplies the engines for all the Toyota cars, and Roush Yates supplies them for all the Fords.
Yeah, but even then, it's pretty much the same engine across the 3 manufacturers.
Right, because it has to be, because while they're letting them make their own engines, they're limited on their horsepower and all this other stuff. So, yeah, they're basically the same engines.
Yeah, whereas the GTE cars, I mean, you got a 12-cylinder in the Lamborghini and a 6-cylinder in the Porsche, and they still make the same output at the end of the day. I think stuff like that is cool, where you can have different design abilities with the engine and still come up with the same thing that gets good racing. Whereas F1, you just got the wackiest engineering idea you could possibly come up with for this set of rules, and one team got it and the other 9 didn't. But it's if Hendrick stopped supplying engines to everybody else that was a Chevy and just made their own engines and gave it an extra 200 horsepower, and they're just gone every week. Nobody's going to watch that here.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. Nobody would watch that. And
I would watch it just to be oh, cool, another Hendrick car won, because I like Hendrick, but that's it.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. All these fans that just want them to go back to that, I don't know that they realize how stupidly boring that would be week to week. It literally would be F1.
Yeah, the sport that everybody that's in NASCAR is like, that's ridiculous. I would never watch that. Then they're like, oh, can we do that to our sport?
Logano even made that comment in the booth a couple weeks ago in an Xfinity race. Was he? I think it was Cindric that said something about compared something to F1, and Logano laughs and he's like, "Oh, come on, we're better than that."
I think it's funny. Logano's still annoying as crap, but he's growing on me a little bit in the booth, not in the car.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. As a person, like he's a cool dude, and he's very smart. He has good opinions on things.
Yeah,
Um,
he just
but yeah,
can't drive
I
a
can see
car
why
around.
you wouldn't like him in the car.
He just can't drive a race car around a Chevy.
Maybe that's intentional.
It probably is. He's the Ford fall guy right now, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're all the fall guys except for Blaney at this point.
Yeah, Cindric's
Although
just not close
Keselowski
enough
got
to the
second
front.
this week, so
He did. I was very happy with that. Keselowski needs to get a win. I
yeah,
wish, like, I don't know. He's pushed Busher
controversially
to
got second
he's
because there
pushed
was.
Busher to too many wins recently.
Well, he controversially got second because there was that whole drama at the end of when the caution came out and whether Byron was second or Keselowski was second after Byron dumped Chastain.
See, now we get to get rid of the Daytona 500 Hendrick controversy with the yellow flag because now Byron got third instead of second.
It's true.
See, it's all full circle.
I just like that Chastain got Chastained.
That was hilarious.
It was
But I don't know. I
best
see a
part
whole
of the
bunch of people
race to
being
me.
like, Byron did that on purpose, all this stuff, and then the Denny Hamlin Kyle Larson thing at Nashville last year, and people were like, oh, that's just racing.
Yeah.
Texas
Well,
sucks. I hate that track. Turn 1 and 2 at Texas is the
it's so
worst
terrible.
idea for a mile and a half I've ever seen in my life.
I did see a good meme the other day though because did you see Denny and Marcus Smith's beef this week?
No,
You didn't see that? They had some late
no.
night beef one night this week on Twitter. Uh, Denny was complaining something about the repave at North Wilkesboro, and
Okay.
Marcus comes back and he's like defending his repaves and all this, and basically takes shots about Denny not having won a championship or whatever. And they go back and forth a few times in some tweets. And I saw a meme after the race of it was that one of is it Leonardo DiCaprio, the one where he's got like the drink in his hand, and he's got that
Yeah.
big smile on his face, yeah, and he's like Marcus Smith after Denny Rex going for the lead on one of his repaved tracks.
It's not even the repave that was the problem. It's just the whole reconfiguration of 1 and
Mm-hmm.
2 because, like, I don't know, Richmond sucks because it flattens out at the end of turn 2. Ooh, let's do that on a mile and a half and see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
it sucks. You can't race off of 2.
Well, it's not the fact that it flattens out off of 1 and 2. It's just that it's so much flatter. Like there's no racing room in that corner other than when they stick the PJ1 or the resin or whatever the hell up there in the second,
Yeah.
third, whatever groove. That's the only time you can get off the bottom in those corners.
Well, it's like, it looks like a carbon copy of Charlotte, but
Mm-hmm.
at Charlotte, you can race from the bottom to the top, and like you can ride the wall around at Charlotte, and you'll be fine.
Well, it did used to basically be a carbon copy of Charlotte. It wasn't
Right.
exactly the same as Charlotte, but before they fucked up 1 and 2, it was very, very similar to Charlotte. Now
Yeah,
it's
but
the same.
there's
It's the same
no
shape, but it's so much different.
there's no high line at Texas. Like the high line is you're just above the car on the inside, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not good racing. You've got 4 or 5 lanes of room in 1 and 2 that you just can't use because if you touch it, you're just wee.
Yeah, literally half of the paved surface in 1 and 2 is unusable, and more than that if they don't put down PJ1 or resin.
Yeah. Then
It's
they do the PJ1 for IndyCar, and then the whole track is unusable.
yeah, right. Maybe that's why IndyCar didn't go back.
No, because the last race was awesome. They just From my understanding, Texas was just like, no.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't know that we've got much else to talk about in the Cup race other than Chastain got himself chastained and got a dose of his own medicine. Chase is back, I guess. I mean, I guess for the past couple of weeks he's been kind of fast, but this is the first time he's really contended for a win this season. Honestly, probably the most aggressive. Did we talk about that already? Was that off camera?
Yeah,
Did we talk about that on here?
No, it was on here.
Was it? Okay. So we'll skip that then. Shout out to Carson Hocevar, though, for best career finish in 10th.
I do want to touch on Chase Elliott a little bit more, though, because since we got to this current car, he's been awful on mile and a halfs. Like, that has been by far his worst kind of track, is the mile and a half intermediate track. And his first win in this new car is the mile and a half, and he was that aggressive all race. If he can keep that up for the next couple races, I think he's probably back.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the question, is does he keep that up for the next couple races? Because the running joke with him is that he just has no energy, no personality, doesn't care. So does he care? Are we about to find out that he cares? Or are we about to find out that this was a one-off and he just wanted to shut everybody up and show him that he could still win, and now he's going to go back to running 10th to 15th every week?
Maybe he'll show some emotion on camera or something next week.
He didn't even show any emotion after he won.
Oh, cool. I won the race. Yay.
Yeah, like, literally, it's just that, man, this is really cool. This is great to be back to winning. Like, great to see all the fans out here today. You guys are awesome. Yeah, this was a great car today.
The most popular driver in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Nice guy. Not saying he's not a nice guy. Just very boring and has no personality.
Well, having grown up with, like, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, like, this new Chase Elliott, I'll even say William Byron, like, Denny Hamlin, there's no emotion anywhere. It's just...
What do you mean, Denny Hamlin? Denny has more personality than practically anybody out there right now when he's being a villain.
He's got personality, but there's no, like, emotion, really.
Oh, there's emotion.
Yeah.
He's not going out and fighting people on pit road, but there's emotion there.
No,
there's way more emotion there than you see out of really any Hendrick driver.
I missed the late 2000s when we had a pit road fight after every race.
Yeah, I know, right? I think the big issue, I don't know that it's that the Hendrick drivers don't have personality. I think it's the culture at Hendrick tells them not to show emotion. Like, Jeff Gordon has gone on record saying something to the effect of he doesn't want his driver showing emotion.
Yeah, and even, like, when Jeff was still driving for Hendrick, he said similar things, like, we're just focused on the job and we want to have the best race we can, and we're, like, everything is prepared for that. But I don't know. It's one of those...
He did have moments where he did crack from that, though.
Oh, those are, like, the best highlight reel things.
They are. I mean,
I was so happy when he punched Brad Keselowski.
Yes.
Kevin Harvick started that one, but...
Yeah, he did. Well, and then there was the fight with Jeff Burton on the backstretch at Texas that one time.
Yeah.
Then there was him and Matt Kenseth on pit road at Bristol.
The Clint Boyer thing that we don't talk about.
Yes, there was that too. Although he didn't really physically get involved in that, though. Like, Boyer never got into the trailer, did he? So Gordon never actually physically was involved in that.
No, he still just deleted his car, though.
Right, but that's on track.
That was, like, the most interesting thing to ever happen to Phoenix.
I know, right? Yeah. Then also Denny Denny'd himself. So I don't know what happened there.
Marcus Smith put a banana peel on track.
I mean, that was probably one of the weirdest spins I've ever seen. Like, there really didn't seem to be any real reason for it. He just lost it.
Looked like he just put too much front wheel into it and just spun. I don't know.
I almost wonder, because you notice Chase comes up the track a little bit. I wonder if it's that Chase air blocked him
That's
and
what
the
I'm
change
thinking.
in the air pressure around the car just whipped it around.
Probably.
Yeah. Because, yes, we love air blocking. That's the best part about NASCAR.
Yes, it is. We're turning into F1 little by little.
That's right. I mean, yes, it happened to somebody that nobody likes, and it was dished out by somebody that more people like than anybody else, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing. That doesn't mean air blocking should be a thing.
No, this stuff happens through the entire field. You just don't notice it in
Yep.
37th position. Well, we don't
Right.
even have 37 cars anymore, but you get the point.
Sometimes. We've got 38 for
Sometimes.
Talladega this week.
Ooh.
Yeah, the 62 and I think it's the 66 are the two open cars. I'd have to go back and look at the entry list. I know the 62 because Alfredo's in there, and I think the 66 was the other one.
I missed the 62 Brendan Gaughan days.
I know, right? Brendan
Like,
actually could do pretty good in that car, too.
I know. He was up front a lot at super speedways.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but I know it was at least 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Three,
I think
maybe
it
4.
was.
Because
Come
he
to think of
hasn't
it, you're right.
raced.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long ago.
He hasn't raced a new car.
No, he hasn't. Let's see. His last start was 2020,
Oh God, I'm ancient now.
right? Yeah, his last start came at Talladega Fall 2020, in which was that
That's
the
the
race
one he
he
flipped,
flipped?
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
in the pink
Because
car.
it does say he crashed, so that's what I was thinking. That had to be the one he flipped.
What a way
What
to
a way
end
to
your
go
career.
out.
I'm turning ancient. I'm gonna be 23 in 2 months, and I'm done with this.
Right? You know, though, he did do well at both Daytona races that year, 7th at the 500 and 8th at the 400.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I don't like that the only drivers that are left from when I was a kid are, well, it's Denny Hamlin. That's it.
I'm honestly surprised he is still kicking it at this point. I mean, he's going on 20 years in the Cup Series.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
got to be close.
Elio Castroneves is going to be like 48 or 49 and going for a fifth Indy 500 again this year.
I mean, Denny's late 40s at this point, I think.
That old. Is he?
43. Okay.
Yeah.
That was close.
I think Elio's like 40.
What is this picture that Google is using for him?
Oh, God.
That has got to be the creepiest smile I have ever seen.
What is Denny Hamlin?
Huh?
At least it is Denny Hamlin. At least he has like some semblance of hair in that picture.
That's true. Oh, my phone went dead. I was going to send it to you, but my phone went dead.
Bald Denny Hamlin is like the worst Halloween jump scare I've ever seen in my life.
Bald? Is he bald now?
Not bald, but like buzz cut.
Oh, yeah.
Like I shouldn't be able to see the shape of his head.
Top searched athletes from the Denny Hamlin article: Danica Patrick, Michael Jordan, Jimmy Johnson. Why is Greg Biffle on this list and AJ Allmendinger?
Okay.
All right, then. Stick with the Biff.
Return to the Biff.
That's right. All right, on to probably the most exciting race of the weekend, Xfinity, in the tied for the second closest finish in the history of the Xfinity Series, 0.002 of a second. Couldn't have been more than a couple of inches. Sam Mayer over Ryan Sieg. And that whole last lap was pretty wild, where Mayer catches Sieg on the last lap. Sieg kind of screwed up 1 and 2 on the last lap, washes up the track. Mayer gets around him. And then Mayer screws up 3 and 4 and washes up the track. Sieg gets back underneath him. They door slam a little bit down the front stretch. Sieg runs Mayer up into the wall, and Mayer still wins by a couple of inches. Which, honestly, I feel like Sieg didn't do enough there. I feel like he was a little too nice. I feel like he could have door slammed Mayer just a tad harder, and that would have killed Mayer's momentum just enough to where Sieg could have held on.
Have you ever? No, I've never. Instead, we
What's with
get
all these wild finishes this year, though? Like, I'm not
I
hating
don't
on it.
know. No, it's great. It's not even like just the Xfinity series. It's Xfinity and Cup and trucks somewhat. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. We've been having a good year this year.
It has been a good year. I mean, there's been some duds, but I mean, there's always going to be duds. Like I've said that before. Like you're never going to have every single race be a banger, and you don't want every race to be a banger because then races like this one, or the Cup race at Atlanta, or the Daytona 500 this year, races like that will lose their luster because they are just as good as the rest of the races. So you're always trying to top it. Where when you do
Yeah.
have some crap races, these races look better in comparison.
I will say though, I feel like this is the best like good race to mediocre race ratio that we've had in quite a while.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. I mean, it's not like we've had completely bad seasons the last couple of years. There's been some good races here or there, but I feel like it's been majority bad races the last few years.
Yeah.
Hi, Doc. Doc wants to be a part of the podcast.
Just give Doc a mic.
Huh?
Give Doc a mic.
That's right. He's about to break some things.
Oh, God.
He's not meaning to. He's rubbing his scent on things, but he's about to knock some things off while he does that. Oh, you okay?
That's how we know the world's not flat, because if it was, Doc would have shoved everything off by now.
That's right. He would have. Wouldn't you? Yeah. You know you would, wouldn't you? Honestly, though, I don't know that there was that much else to talk about in the Xfinity race other than the finish. Like, the race itself wasn't that good.
No, just Allgaier kind of dominated most of it.
Yeah. What happened there at the end, by the way? I got distracted by things at work and literally flipped back over. Like, I had it on the whole time and was like listening, but not really listening. And then I pulled the tab back open with like 5 to go. And I was like, where did Ryan Sieg come from?
I don't know. Sieg was running like top 5, top 10 most of the day.
Well, yeah, top 10, but that doesn't like. Where did he come from to be in the lead with 5 to go? Because it didn't seem to me like he had winning speed up to that point.
Nah, I don't know. The mysteries of Ryan Sieg.
That's right. I was pretty heartbroken for him though, because that would have been so cool. After how many starts does he have? It's 400 and something, and has yet to win in the Xfinity series. Oh, never mind. Not 400. 342 starts in the Xfinity series. But still, that's a lot of starts. Huh?
It's at least 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, his first Xfinity race was in 2013. He ran 4 races in 2013, and then ever since then, starting in 2014, he's run the full season.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was right. Cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been a long time, and a long time coming. He's slowly built that team up, and, I mean, ever since about 2019, 2020, that team has been really good. I mean, 2020, 7 top 5s and 11 top 10s. So, I mean, he's been right there for a while now, and just never quite has fully put it together. And he almost did it this time, and I was very sad that he didn't put it together. Happy for Sam Mayer. I like Sam Mayer, but he's already won some races. We know he's good. Ryan Sieg needs a win.
Is that like Sieg's team? Does he own that team?
His family does. I don't know if he technically does.
No, so it is a family team at least.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, yeah, technically the owner is Rod Sieg, which I think is his dad.
Okay.
But
That's still cool. It's a family team and they built it up to where
Yeah.
it is now.
I mean, they started in the Truck Series. They kind of took the Jordan Anderson path because they started in the Truck Series in 2009 and ran full seasons there up through 2013, and then made the switch to Xfinity in 2014. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
kind of took the Jordan Anderson path, and now they've got 4 cars in Xfinity, which 2 to 3 of them are basically just out there to run laps and make some money for them. But um, usually Ryan is the only one actually being competitive on a week to week basis.
Yeah. This is sad that I didn't even know they had other cars other than Ryan Sieg.
Yeah, they've got
Is
the
it like Ryan Vargas or something that they
no,
had? That they
they've
used
got
to have?
the he might have been in there for a few races at one point. They've got the he's the 39. They've also got the 38, the 29, and the 28.
Oh
Um,
yeah, so nobody competitive.
right. So, for example, this week in the other cars, Kyle Sieg in the 28 finished 14th. So, I mean, he was kind of competitive. I'm not convinced Kyle is as good as Ryan, but um, either way, still finished decent in 14th. The 38 was Matt DiBenedetto. He finished 20th. And the 29 was Blaine Perkins in 35th.
Ouch.
Yeah. Which, like I said, usually the 29 and the 38 are just back markers riding around to make them some extra money. Sometimes the 28 with Kyle Sieg is, but like this week, apparently he wasn't if he finished top 15.
Yeah.
And I guess Dibby wasn't either if he finished top 20. Because that seems a little high to just be riding around to make some money. Um, maybe Dibby actually brought some money for the first time in his career. I don't know. Either way, though, yeah, would have been cool to see Sieg win. I mean, he very well could win this week at Talladega. He's been good at Talladega in the past, and I mean, anybody can basically win at Talladega under the right circumstances. So we shall see. Maybe he gets it this week. Um, trucks this week. Not a lot happening there either. Pretty boring race. Kyle Busch dominates, wins both stages, and wins the race. Good run for McAnally Hilgeman, or at least 3 of the 4 cars. Eckes third, Zane Smith fifth, Daniel Dye sixth, tying his career best finish. Ankrum did not have such a good day. He ended up in last, but crashed on lap 1. But
They couldn't get that truck race going to start the race. They had a bunch of wrecks at the beginning of the race.
they did, yeah. Which made it kind of exciting to an extent, but I mean, if the only thing you got going for you is there's a bunch of wrecks, I guess it's something, but I don't know. Not really my cup of tea. Like, it's cool to an extent, but I'd rather see actual racing. But I guess if there's not going to be any actual racing because it's Texas, if that's the best we're going to get, that's the best we're going to get.
Most iconic thing at Texas is people sliding up the hill in 1 and 2.
That's right. um, we have some ARCA this weekend as well. First time they've been back in a few weeks. Talladega and Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway.
Confused with the actual Kevin Harvick, who has nothing to do with this track.
Yeah, no ownership interest whatsoever. They just renamed it because last year he retired, and they've kept the name Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. Which
Is
I mean,
he even
it's
from there?
yeah, it's in his hometown. It's in Bakersfield.
Oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Which I believe I'd have to go back and look this up. I believe that name change came with an ownership change because Trevor Huddleston's dad, who owns Irwindale, bought that track. And I believe when he bought it, that's when it was renamed.
Track named after me.
Right? There's been some scuttlebutt that Kern might host a cup race at some point.
Wow.
That could be interesting. Like,
Can't go
everybody
to the
wants
Chicago
Irwindale to do it, which I think Irwindale would be a very cool option. I love Irwindale, but the problem with Irwindale is where it is. It's in a very metro area on the outskirts of LA. So,
Oh, yikes.
yeah, it's like Auto Club, but more metro.
Yikes.
Yeah, so like Auto Club was like built up before the area in Fontana really became urbanized, so it kind of got to get its own footprint. Irwindale, I mean, Irwindale's been around for a while, but it's also just been a local short track, so it never needed that much of a footprint. So, and there's nowhere really to expand to now to have the room to host a cup race.
Yeah.
Which really sucks because Irwindale I think is a very cool track and I think would be very cool with the cup cars. I just don't think it's going to happen unfortunately just because of where it is. And
Wish
who
they'd do
knows if
like an
Irwindale even
IROC.
has a future. I mean, Auto Club because of the price of the land, they sold it or they sold most of it. So, who's to say Irwindale doesn't get sold just for the price of the land? Now that they own Kern as well, it's not like they'd be completely out of the racetrack owning business.
I wish they'd do like a NASCAR short track showdown type of thing where they took the current cup cars and took them to like tiny short tracks like that and like 15 to 20 cars, and that way you don't have to have everybody, but you still get to see the cup cars in different places.
That would be cool, but the other thing about that is it's not necessarily about how many teams you can fit there. It's also about how many fans you can get there
Yeah.
because I mean, you can't there's going to be a very very high demand if you bring cup cars there and there's not nearly enough seating for that. I mean, it's the same thing like we talked about with current Nashville fairgrounds.
They sell it out, and I mean, you sell the tickets for an insane amount of money.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing.
It would be cool to have like a midweek, like have a optional opt-in thing for the Cup Series, like 12 to 20 drivers, and then in the middle of the week go somewhere to some short track and race like on a Wednesday night or something random like that.
I mean that would be cool, but there's a reason NASCAR hasn't done anything like that yet. Um and I think it's mostly because of the fans and the fact of there wouldn't be able to be very many fans there. Like I like your idea that make it a hard ticket to get like the Bristol night race used to be, but the problem with that is there was a lot more people that could go to Bristol and there was still demand for it. Like I don't know what the seating capacity is at Irwindale, but I don't think it's very many. And you're really limiting yourself on how much money can come in from an event like that when you can only get 5,000 people there.
Hell, you can even make it like a pay-per-view online to watch it kind of deal if you really wanted to.
I feel like most NASCAR fans would not go for that.
Probably not, but if all you're trying to do is milk money out of the cow, I mean,
That's the thing though. If not very many fans would go for it, I don't know that you're going to get much milk out of that cow.
I don't know. You put it up for like $5 for people to watch it, I'm sure people would do it. Not gonna do like that $50 WWE bull.
I don't know. I feel like there's a way to do that, but I feel like that's not the way to do it. I feel like at some point I think NASCAR needs its own streaming service. We're
Yeah,
going to
I mean,
eventually go in that direction. I mean, F1's already got its own streaming service. So, and that doesn't mean you take the races completely off of regular TV. F1 hasn't, but they have their own streaming service where all their practice qualifying and everything else is.
we
Um,
could do the similar thing with NASCAR, like put practice and qualifying on your streaming service and have like a midweek
yeah,
local
that's
short
that's
track thing.
that's where I was going with that was your races can still be on TV or you can watch them on the streaming service. Practice and qualifying are on the streaming service. Maybe you make Xfinity and trucks and ARCA and all that exclusive to the streaming service. And then like your midweek all-star type races like what you're talking about, those can be exclusive to it as well.
Yeah, I just think that's a really cool way to expand NASCAR to these places that already have tracks. Like we've tried doing IROC and then the Superstar Racing Experience, whatever thing. I mean, like stuff like that is really, really cool, and it gets you into places like that with those drivers, and it's fun and it's exciting. but I mean, there's no way we're going to be able to take the entire Cup Series to some of these tracks.
Now, the problem you're going to run into with that is pricing, because I don't remember what the price is, but isn't F1 TV fairly expensive? I don't
I don't
remember
know.
what the
I
number
haven't
is.
looked
I've
at it.
never bought it, but I remember it being fairly
What's
expensive when I looked at it.
what's Flow for Arca?
Flow is, I believe, $150 for a year.
Okay, so I think the MLB thing is like around there also. So I mean, you do like $150 for a year subscription to watch every session of NASCAR, all three series, and a bonus midweek thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that.
Well, the thing is, and you don't even necessarily have to limit it to on-track activities. Maybe that's where you put a lot of your talk shows, because I think F1 TV has a bunch of talk shows and stuff
Yeah, you
on
could
there
even
as
like
well.
put each driver's like podcast type of thing on there, like
Mm-hmm.
Denny's and Juniors and all that. That'd be like a cool thing for Dale Jr. to be partnered up with, is to help kick something like this off the ground and have all his podcast stuff on there.
Well, maybe Dirty Mo would be the one to make the streaming service in the first place. That actually wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that'd be
Dirty
cool.
Mo has grown a lot at this point, so I think it's
Dale
to the
Jr.
point.
quit the booth and just made a streaming service for NASCAR.
Right. I mean, I think Dirty Mo is to the point where they probably could feasibly do a streaming service like that. Now, your other
Maybe, yeah.
question there is, how would you do booths for that? If you still had like contracts for TV, how many TV networks would you have? Would you have different booths for the races maybe that stream only? Because I'm sure you wouldn't have every single cup race televised at that point. You would probably still have some cup races behind the paywall. Because I mean, at this point, you can
Have like
tell
two
there's
thirds
some.
of them televised or something.
Right. You can tell at this point there's some races that Fox and NBC just don't want, because they just stick
Yeah.
them on USA or FS1 and they don't care about them. So my guess is those races would probably be streaming only, and you would keep it to where like your Daytona 500, your Brickyard 400, your Bristol Night Race, your championship race, your big races like that would be televised. You'd probably televise at least half the season, and then the rest of it would be televised slash um, streamed,
Yeah, you
or
could even
other way
like
around. Yeah, you
you
know
could
what I'm
even
saying.
go to the networks and be like, "Hey, what races do you want
Mm-hmm.
on your network?" And the rest of them we just put over here.
Yeah, yeah, and then you got to wonder about, in that case though, how do you set up a system like that? Do you still set it up where, like for example, how it is right now? Fox has the first half of the season, NBC has the second half of the season. But let's say all of the races that are currently on FS1 would be streaming only in this scenario. It's still in the Fox half of the season. Do you use the Fox booth for those races, or do you have a separate booth that is specifically for streaming only races?
I would have a separate like NASCAR booth
Hmm.
for the NASCAR streaming races.
I would agree with that, but you'd also have to make sure that it's still up to quality, because that's kind of the problem you run into with some of these streaming services is, if it's
Allan
something that's
Bestwick
streaming
still doesn't
only
have
and
a
not
job.
on TV, then it's not as good a quality.
Allan Bestwick still doesn't have a full time gig.
This is true.
Did you see that he will be doing a couple races during the Olympics?
No. I saw that Lee Diffie was doing some, but that's the last I had seen. Because I knew
Oh,
they were.
it is Lee Diffie, not him. Okay.
Yeah, because they're sending Rick Allen to the Olympics. But I think
Can
the
you
way they
imagine
worded it was
watching the Olympics and it's Rick Allen?
See, the way they worded it though was like Lee Diffie wasn't doing every race through the Olympics, so there might be somebody else doing some of those races.
Well, I would imagine. When is the Olympics this year?
I don't know. How long does the Olympics last? Is my question.
It's like
How
a
many
month.
races are actually going to need to be covered for Rick?
It's like a month, isn't it?
Is it? I wasn't sure if it was a month or like 2 weeks or what it was.
It's it's 2-ish weeks.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking because they took an Olympic break a couple years ago for 2 weeks.
July 26th to August 11th.
Okay,
But then I'm gonna check the IndyCar schedule. There's off, so
that whole time.
it'll be Lee Dippy the whole time.
Okay,
Because I was gonna say if there's IndyCar, then they're gonna have to find somebody.
right.
I think it's a crime against humanity that Alan Bestwick doesn't have a full time gig right now.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, arguably the best voice in the history of NASCAR broadcasting. I mean, obviously, Ken Squire, Mike Joy, Bob Jenkins are a thing, but arguably the best voice in the history of NASCAR broadcasting and is still working and wanting to work and doesn't have a job.
I'd be lying if I didn't say that that's like half the reason I watch the SRX series.
Oh, I agree. I was the same way. You know what's funny is I say that about Bob Jenkins, and early Bob Jenkins was not good.
I think that's about the 7th time you said that on podcast.
I'm not surprised, but I keep being amazed. But and I'm also starting to wonder: was Bob Jenkins as good as we remember him being? Because I am halfway through 1989. I mean, he's been doing NASCAR now, and I think IndyCar as well at that point for close to a decade now. I mean, he started early in the 80s. Yeah, because he was the first play-by-play guy for ESPN for NASCAR. So I mean, I think 1980 was their first NASCAR race they did. So I mean, he's been doing play-by-play now for close to a decade for NASCAR and whatever other forms of motorsports. And I'm still sitting here cringing at some of the things he's saying or how he's saying it, and just I'm really wondering if there ever actually comes a point where Bob Jenkins was good, or if we're just misremembering and it's nostalgia.
I've been watching a lot of late 2000s IndyCar races that he did, and it was pretty good.
Okay.
Maybe just took him like 40 years, but
Yeah, right?
I do think that the late 2000s IndyCar broadcast was a lot different than NASCAR also, because
Mm-hmm.
with the IndyCar broadcast, like the TV coverage kicks on, and usually the cars are already starting off the pit lane, and they just kind of do a quick grid rundown and then start the race. There's not like
Mm-hmm.
this, what do we talk about for half an hour
Well,
before
no,
anything
that's the thing
happens?
with NASCAR Classics is they don't show much of the pre-race. Like basically, you get maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the pre-race, whatever it is, prior to the green flag. Like you don't get the full pre-race on NASCAR Classics. And then you might get like 2 or 3 post-race interviews after the race, and that's all you get for post-race. So
Mm.
essentially, all you're seeing on NASCAR Classics is the race, and that's what I'm cringing at is the way he is calling the race.
Oh,
Like
okay.
sometimes he gets like his voice will crack. He'll get extremely high pitched over things. He doesn't know what's happening half the time. Like sometimes I feel like I'm watching a Marty Reed race.
Oh, God. Is it better or worse than Rick Allen?
And by 1989, I would say he's worse than Rick Allen. He has not gotten
Ooh.
better than Rick Allen yet.
Worse than, and they're off of turn number 4, wins. Okay.
I challenge you to watch the 1989 Pepsi 400. I just watched that one a couple days
Is
ago.
it the Daytona one?
Huh?
That was still Daytona.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Daytona. Very good race. Super good race. Bob Jenkins sounds like an idiot half the time, though.
Like Davey Allison type of days.
It was. Davey Allison won that one.
Oh, let's go. I'm so good at this.
Right? No, very good race though. I would recommend it for the race. Very good race to watch. Not great commentary, at least from Bob Jenkins' side of things. Like Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, they do a bang up job.
Ned Jarrett and Benny Parsons was the rest of the booth?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like the Indy 500 of Scott Goodyear and what's his name? What's the other guy?
Paul Page?
No, the really tall old guy.
Paul Tracy.
No, he's not tall. He's fat.
He can be both.
Damn it.
No, I take that back. Benny Parsons was on pit road. Chris Economaki was in the booth. It was Jenkins, Jarrett, and Economaki. And they had a hilarious piece in the middle of the race where Economaki had like gone down in the infield and he was asking the fans a bunch of questions.
Eddie Cheever.
Oh, Eddie Cheever. Okay. No,
that's
that was
like
on
the Scott Goodyear Eddie Cheever, but actually good.
Nice. No, this was on Michigan, the race before Daytona. Economaki had like gone down into the infield and was asking the fans a bunch of questions, asking them if it was still a Southern sport or how much they enjoyed it up in the North in Michigan, blah, blah, blah. That
what? Okay.
Yeah.
We're still doing that in 89.
Yeah, right? So at the end of the piece, he interviews this little kid that had to be like 5 or 6. And he bends down to him and he's like, "So who's your favorite NASCAR broadcast personality?" "Ned Jarrett." "Who's your second favorite broadcast personality?" "Benny Parsons." And then he stands back up and he's like, "Kids, what do they know?"
Has like a really cringy interview and be like, "Oh, he didn't pick me."
Right?
Oh my god. Okay.
So then they come back out of that to live, and everybody in the booth is cracking up laughing, and Bob's like, "That must have been a hard piece to film." Chris is like, "It was a hard piece to watch."
Oh my god.
Oh.
It's like if you asked a kid today, Mike Tirico and Danica Patrick, and you're like, Mike?
Yeah, right? Oh.
I'm watching the 2021 Indy 500 again, and they had, who was it? It was Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, and Paul Tracy in the booth. And then,
Is that the one where they still didn't let fans in?
No, this is the one Elio won his 4th at.
Oh, that's right.
This is the first
2020
one
was the only one they didn't let fans into.
Yeah, it's the first one after that.
Okay.
But watch the beginning of that race again, because Lee Diffie has like a really cool intro to the race where he's talking about the fans and how big of a deal it is when they're coming around 3 and 4. It kind of gives me chills every time. But
and you like to talk about Lee Diffie.
Well, he does just scream in British half the time, but the rest of the time is cool. But
I
then
don't understand the hate for Lee Diffie. I like Lee Diffie.
I like Lee Diffie too. It's just, I don't know. We're
you don't know. You don't know what you're mad about. You just know you don't like it.
I would rather listen to Lee Diffie than Townsend Bell and Paul Tracy. I'm glad Paul Tracy's not there anymore. Paul Tracy annoyed the out of me. But then Steve Letarte and Jimmy Johnson were at the end of pit road just doing like candid interview. Like, I don't even know what they were supposed to actually be doing. They were just talking about the race. And then Steve Letarte's like, "Hey, doesn't this look cool, Jimmy?" And Jimmy's like, "Yeah." And then next year he did the 500.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Well, we should probably start looking ahead to this weekend. Well, we should look at our picks from last week first before we get
We should look at our picks from last week first.
We should.
It was a really good week.
Tyler extends his truck point lead only because I'm too lazy to factor in stage points for somebody that didn't get points. Because Kyle Busch won the race, but because Sanchez got 3rd with stage points, Tyler gets 11 more points than I do. And I'm just following my own lazy rule here of anybody that doesn't get points, we just go with their base points. So I've screwed myself over with my own rule here, but I'm not changing the rules midway. So I have screwed myself here, but it is what it is. Tyler now leads 247 to 219, a lead of 28 points. Xfinity, Tyler has severely cut into my lead, now only 14 points after Allgaier comes home in 3rd and Jesse Love was 9th. Allgaier with a lot of stage points as well also helps Tyler's cause. And then Tyler now takes the points lead in the Cup Series because Denny'd himself. I was looking really good to come away really well after this race and actually gain points on Tyler. But no, Tyler actually Did you extend? No, you took the lead. I had the lead coming into this race. You took the lead. Now you have a 22-point lead thanks to Bubba's top 10 finish and Denny's abysmal finish after he wrecked himself.
It's funny, we keep having like these really terrible weeks for Cup. Like the first week I had 4 points, and then Vegas you got 1, Phoenix I got 3.
Yeah, that'll happen. Well, and I got 9 at Coda with McDowell and his mechanical issues.
Yeah, that was not a good one for you.
Nope. Well, so we both had. Well, I guess I've had 3 mulligans now. If you count Denny this week, you've only had 2, and that's why you're in the lead because I've had more mulligans.
Yeah, quit having mulligans and you'd be winning.
If I had a crystal ball and could tell who would win every week, this wouldn't be an issue.
We also wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah. I'm going to start consulting a magic 8 ball every week.
Okay, and who's going to win? Kyle Busch. You're just an 8 ball, and that's the 8 car.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to ask it random drivers until it tells me yes.
Do like Jeff Gordon? Yes. Whoa.
Yeah, right. He's going to hop into the 24 for one final time.
Win the championship.
That's right. All right, on to this weekend. We got 2 ARCA races. First one will be, we're going to go in chronological order here. First one will be the General Tire 200 from Talladega Saturday afternoon at 12:30 Eastern on FS1. Tyler, who takes home the victory at Talladega in the 3rd main ARCA race of the season?
I'm going to go with Andres Perez de Lara. He impressed me at this race last year, and I think he led a decent amount of laps at this race last year and just couldn't get it done at the end, but I think we'll get it done this year.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to go with the guy that dominated Daytona and then got screwed over by a teammate restart that wasn't a teammate restart at the end. Jake Finch, I think, takes his first main ARCA victory at Talladega this weekend. The other ARCA race of the weekend has one of the longest names I have ever seen in my life. The MMI Oil Workers 150, presented by the West Coast Stock Car Motorsports Hall of Fame at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway.
Say that 3 times fast.
Right? 11:15 p.m. Eastern, Saturday night on Flow Racing. Tyler, who wins race number 2 of the West season?
I think in front of a crowd of exactly 3 fans from the East Coast, Sean Hingorani's going to win this one.
Fair enough. I mean, that would be back-to-back. He won this race last year, although his 3 fans will probably be will be the only ones not disappointed in that.
Yeah.
I think Trevor Huddleston wins. I believe this is the first time they've been there since his dad took over ownership there. I don't think they owned it for last year. Maybe they did. I don't remember if they did or not, though. But either way, I think Trevor Huddleston wins this race and marches his way possibly toward a West championship. I was looking down through this entry list and literally just outside of Hingorani and Huddleston, I really couldn't find anybody that stood out to me as somebody that might win this race. So, I mean, if both of them get taken out, it could get interesting, but I think it's going to come down to one of those 2. On to NASCAR for the weekend, the main NASCAR series. Xfinity and Cup from Talladega, Saturday, 4 p.m. will be Xfinity for the Ag Pro 300. Tyler, who's the Ag Pro at Talladega this weekend?
I think it's going to be, who did I pick? Parker Kligerman.
Good job.
That's embarrassing. We're going to restart that one.
No, we're not. We're going with that. Just keep rolling.
We should redo that one.
No, we're not. Keep going.
It's going to be Parker Kligerman. He's got 2 top 5s in the last 2 times we've been to Talladega, and he's usually pretty solid on the big tracks, so I think he'll get it done this week.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to go with the guy that won the pole at Daytona and at Atlanta and led a lot of laps at Atlanta and probably should have, no, there's no probably to it, should have won at Atlanta until NASCAR screwed up that finish. Jesse Love wins at Talladega, his first Xfinity victory. He's been so fast all season, most of the time outrunning his teammate Austin Hill. I think he takes the victory here and shuts out his teammate Austin Hill from taking the first 3 drafting track wins this season.
Drafting track.
On to the Cup Series, Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Xfinity is also on Fox, by the way. I think I missed that. Geico 500, Sunday, 3 p.m. on Fox. Tyler, who is insured well enough to win this race?
It's going to be Ryan Blaney because he's really freaking good at Talladega for whatever reason.
He is. He is wildly good at Talladega, but every time he wins at Talladega, it's in some of the closest finishes in history. So if he wins, we should have an exciting finish. I'm going to go... Huh?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, same. I'm going to go Brad Keselowski. Has yet to win a race since moving to RFK. Has been very fast to start this season. Came home 1 spot short this past week at Texas. I think Brad Keselowski takes home the victory at the track that he won his very first Cup Series race at Talladega. All right, final race of the weekend. I am ill prepared for this because I had it pulled up on my phone and then my phone went dead, so I do not have the info in front of me yet. So let's find... Okay, right here. Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC? It's not giving me a channel. I'm guessing it's NBC.
It should be big NBC.
Okay, yes, big NBC. The Grand Prix of Long Beach in the streets of Long Beach, California. Tyler, who's California dreaming this weekend?
I think Colton Hurd is going to win it as his home track for the second time. I believe it's going to be one of the Andretti cars. The Andretti cars have really, really good street course setups. Marcus Ericsson's been competitive here, and this is his first time there with an Andretti car. Kirkwood won this last year. Hurd has won it within the last 3 years. Rossi won it a couple times when he was with Andretti. This is kind of Andretti's playground at Long Beach. But out of the 3 Andretti cars at St. Pete, Colton Hurd impressed me the most, and I think he's going to back it up again this week.
All right, fair enough. That's a good pick. I'm going to go with a guy that you mentioned has won this a couple times in the past. I think Alexander Rossi takes his 3rd victory at Long Beach. Not in an Andretti car anymore, but I think he finally picks up that first win with McLaren and secures the win on the streets of Long Beach. But I think that's about all we got for today. So thanks for hanging out, y'all. Enjoy. Huh?
You don't have an F1 pick?
Oh, yeah, Max Verstappen. They're in China this weekend. I got to look that one up, too, because I had it on my phone, and I don't know what time that is. Hang on.
10 p.m. or 2 a.m., something stupid like that.
3 a.m. Eastern.
That's close.
3 a.m. Sunday morning for the Chinese Grand Prix from Shanghai.
Woo.
On some sort of ESPN.
Woo.
Yeah, right. Okay, so, yeah, that's all we got. So enjoy Talladega, enjoy Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway, enjoy Long Beach, enjoy China, and we'll see you again next week, same time, same place, to talk about all of that and look ahead to whatever we've got next weekend. I don't remember what's next weekend. We'll figure it out next week. So at that, I'm Garth. That's Tyler. This is the Rookie Stripes podcast on Racing News Now.